individuals take humility and a simple attitude to life to an awesome level.
I used to work in Abuja, in the office of the Surveyor General of the Federation. I'm a surveyor by profession. And I lived all my working life as a surveyor and retired as a surveyor in 2011.
I used to work here in Abuja in the office of the Surveyor General of the Federation. Wait a minute, but you were yourself the Surveyor General. But that's the man in his well-known self-effacing style. Humble and straightforward former Nigerian Surveyor General Austin Njepuome grew up as a child to find people showing good respect to his parents. Here's why.
Really, if I had anybody who was a model of integrity, my dad was one. And so he brought me up, and he would always tell me, whatever you want to do, remember the son of who you are. I didn't leave money behind for you. I didn't leave riches, but I am leaving a name, which I will want you to perfect and also leave for your children and grandchildren.
This Njaba local government, Imo State-born boundaries specialist has seen action in an eventful life of surveying. He believed in his father's exemplary life to the point of wanting to perpetuate his name.
It surprises people that I haven't changed the name. I still continue to maintain the name. My children answered the name. My grandchildren are still answering that name. I wouldn't even mind if my own name is lost, but that name is kept because it's a precious name to keep.
The father he's talking about was a devout Catholic. So was his wife. Austin had a path to God laid out for him. He rose to become a mass servant and only narrowly missed the seminary later. He was filled with God all through his childhood, so to speak. But however desirable the godly injunctions he received were, they would not spare Austin from life's challenges. What were those inevitable challenges?
There were really many, and there were very serious challenges, really. The challenges of adult life, too much drinking, too much smoking, too much bribery, too much corruption. You find that if you are trying to make your life perfect and you are trying to live the life of a Christian, by the time you come into the society, you come directly in conflict with the way the society is, especially in a society like ours, where you will see other people doing things you were not brought up to do. But, well, in as much as one was not supposed to alienate oneself from the society, one had to learn to live with other members of the society. You try as much as possible to encourage people. Don't let the society, influence you into doing what you are not supposed to do. You try as much as possible to influence the society, to change a little, and at least meet you midway or be on your side of behavior. It was a difficult task, really.
His godly attitude was derided by some individuals. It didn't matter. He actually says a good Christian who is not scoffed at does not exist. Mr. Njepuome, in effect, started his fight against moral decay right from when he became a civil servant.
I was given the civil service form to fill out. In our days, the Civil Service Commission used to interview us while we were in the university, publish our names even before we finish the degree program. So immediately you finish your service, you go and report at your office. I got there, a young man bubbling with energy and with all the hopes in the world. And I was given a form to fill. I started with my name and date of birth, and surprisingly, the person who gave me the form asked me, "Is this your real date of birth?" I said, "Yes, that's my real date of birth." And they said, "No. You have to change it. You know, bring the year up by about 5 to 8 years, so that you will stay longer in the civil service." Then I asked him, if I bring the year up by 5 years or 8 years, what does that do to my person? My date of birth is supposed to be my date of birth. It is not I'm not supposed to hide my date of birth and then I have another official date of birth. The man just looked at me and said, "This man, maybe you ought to have been a reverend father. Do you think this place is a church? You know, this is what everybody does." I looked at the man and I told him, well, the fact that everybody does it does not make it right. I want to put my date of birth. I don't want to have another date of birth. My date of birth is my date of birth. He said, "Okay, go ahead, but you will regret it by the time you are retiring, because you'll be retiring from service young." I looked at him and I never bothered. I put down my correct date of birth. And I walked through the service with my real date of birth. I didn't have an official date of birth. And I told my God, when I get to the age of 60 or to 35 years, as stated in the service, I will retire and go home and look after myself. There is no need of me telling a lie. So, you will not believe it, as at the time I was to retire, when they called us to come and fill out the forms and do some orientation, you know, for retirement. I got there, they were telling me, "No, Oga, this place is for retirees. It is not for people like you." Because I turned out I looked like the youngest person there. Some were coming with, problem with one hand or one leg, or were being carried there or anything. I walked in like a young man that I was, and they were saying, "No, you are not supposed to be here. This place is for retirees." I said, "I'm going to be a retiree also with you in the next 3 weeks." They said, "You are not supposed to be a retiree." Even the president told me too. He called me and said, "I understand you are retiring." I said, "Yes." He said, "You are not looking 60. I said, "But I'm 60. My body knows I'm 60. You know, so I'm going to retire." He said, "No, I will give you an extension of 1 year. You can take an extension." I told him, "I'm not extending. I want to go." He said, "Why do you want to go when you are hell and healthy? People come here begging for another year, or even 2 years, 3 years. And you say you want to go." I said, "I want to go. I want to go when I'll be useful to myself and be able to look after myself. I don't want to go when I have had maybe diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever. I'm going to be 60 and I want to go. I don't want any extension of service." Said, "Well, I like the way you did this work, but you know, if you wouldn't mind and you give us another year." I said, "I will want to retire when the ovation is highest."
We asked Mrs. Njepuome how much of a problem the husband became to her for refusing bribes and acts of self-aggrandizement that many women would have thanked their husbands for facilitating into the family. The woman was ready for us.
Where do you start? Because, you know, there's that proverb that is from little things that you can know, you know, whether the bigger things will actually fall in place, you know. So, looking back from the early days, you know, when we used to write letters, there were no phones to send. And somebody writes to you and tells you something he will do or he will say or, and does it, you don't have to remind. Then it shows you, oh, that person must be a very, committed, person that has integrity actually, Because then in school, there are many people that will tell you things and they will never do any of those things, just sweet mouth and that is it. So you begin to see somebody who is committed, who is disciplined, ab initio, so it's not something that that started along the line, after our marriage, but has always been there. 43 years of marriage, and you've had that consistency all through the thin and thick times,
Other endorsers of the character of Mr. Njepuome practically raise his integrity beyond human reproach.
There was a time the surveying world had a meeting in Abuja here, and he was supposed to make a speech for the president. And he called somebody to do it, a much senior person to me. He couldn't get that person, so he called me that I should gather some people to write the speech. At the end of the day, he was given 5,000 naira, and he called me. I went to his office. He brought out the 5,000 crisp notes and shared it into two to give part of it, that one to me, saying that he was given the money as honorarium, but that he knew that I was the author. I appreciated it so much because he didn't have any reason to share it with me. And when I got down, I shared with the people who made the speech with me. There are so many other reasons for me to say that he is a man of integrity. One day he called me, said, "Val, do you know that all these struggles, sometimes you match people's legs and take something that belongs to them? At the end of the day, you will leave everything here and go away."
Savio Njepuome, I will start by referring to Proverbs chapter 20 verse 7 that says, "A just man live his life on integrity, and his children are blessed after him." But that of Njepuome, his children are even blessed when he's still alive. He has lived a life of integrity. He's a man of his words. He's a man that promises and fulfilled. And he's a man that does not, when they talk of corruption, he is never. And the man has always been a man of his word, standing on whatever he says he will do.
Mr. Njepuome has something that should serve as a piece of advice to young persons who are hoping for an easy life.
I stayed with my grandfather in those days, and I will always tell him, "Look, Grandpa, there are too many problems. You go out there are too many problems. Is this the way the world is?" And my grandpa will always tell me, "Yes, that is the way the world is. The day you don't find challenges, if you wake up any day, you don't find challenges and everything is smooth, then check it very well. You have left this earth. You are in another realm." And it makes a lot of sense to me, really, now, because really there are too many challenges, and really the day you wake up and you don't find the challenges, then you check it very well. Maybe you have left, the earth and you are in another realm.
Mr. Njepuome was a director, boundaries, at a point in his career. Where he said the boundary was, practically became law. He resisted all attempts, locally and internationally, to be bribed into compromise. At 72, the man is still young and happy.